The rain hadn't stopped for 3 days, and neither had my tears. I stood at the window of my best friend Sarah's apartment, watching couples hurry past with shared umbrellas, their laughter muffled by the storm. My phone buzzed again, another photo of them. Derek and her, the woman he'd chosen over 5 years of us. She was everything I wasn't. Confident, glamorous, the kind of person who never questioned her worth. "Emma, you need to eat something," Sarah said softly behind me. But I couldn't turn around. If I did, she'd see how broken I really was. "He left me for her," I whispered, my breath fogging the glass. "Sarah, will you hold me so he regrets it?" The words came out before I could stop them, desperate. Pathetic. The kind of thing you say when you've forgotten who you are without someone else's love to define you. Sarah's arms wrapped around me from behind, and I finally let myself collapse into her embrace. "Oh, honey," she breathed. "That's not how this works. Making him regret losing you isn't about me holding you. It's about you remembering how to hold yourself." I wanted to believe her. God, how I wanted to. But when you've spent 5 years building a life with someone, planning a future that included his mother's china, pattern and arguments about whether to name your first daughter Claire or Charlotte, you don't just bounce back. You shatter. And I had shattered so completely that I wasn't sure all the pieces could ever fit together again. The next morning, Sarah did something I didn't expect. She handed me a coat and a pair of rain boots. "We're going out." "Sarah, I can't. What if I see them? What if you spend another day dying inside this apartment?" She pulled me up from the couch. "Trust me, just this once." We drove for 20 minutes before pulling into a place I'd never noticed despite passing it hundreds of times, the Riverside Community Center. The building was old, paint peeling from the window frames, but warm light glowed from inside. Through the windows, I could see children laughing, elderly people playing cards, volunteers serving food. "What is this?" I asked. "This," Sarah said, "is where I've been coming every Saturday for the past year. And this is where you're going to remember who Emma Peterson really is." A woman in her 60s greeted us at the door, her face creasing into a smile that reached her eyes. "Sarah, and you must be Emma. Sarah's told us you might join us." I shot Sarah a look, but she just shrugged innocently. "I'm Margaret," the woman continued. "We're a bit chaotic today. We run a weekend program for kids whose parents work multiple jobs, and we host a community dinner every evening. We're short-staffed, so any help is a blessing." Before I could protest, a little girl with braids and missing front teeth grabbed my hand. "Will you help me with my reading? Miss Margaret says I'm getting really good, but some words are still tricky." Her name was Destiny, and she was 7 years old. As we sat together in a corner with a worn copy of Charlotte's Web, I learned that her mom worked 2 jobs to keep them in their apartment, that her dad was away in a way that made her eyes sad, and that she wanted to be a veterinarian when she grew up because she loved all animals, even the scary ones that other people don't like. "My friend Jasmine says rats are gross," she told me seriously. "But I think they're just misunderstood. Like me sometimes." Something cracked open in my chest. Here was this child, dealing with circumstances far harder than my broken heart, and she was worried about misunderstood rats. She wasn't thinking about what she'd lost or what she didn't have. She was dreaming about who she wanted to become. "I think you're going to be an amazing veterinarian," I told her, and watched her face light up like I'd handed her the world. Over the next few weeks, I kept coming back. At first, it was because Sarah dragged me, but soon it was because I needed to. There was Marcus, a teenager who'd aged out of foster care and was trying to finish high school while working full-time. There was Mr. Chen, who'd lost his wife of 50 years and came to the center because the silence of his empty house was unbearable. There was Yolanda, a single mother of 3 who somehow still found energy to volunteer in the kitchen after her nursing shifts because, as she said, everyone deserves a hot meal and a kind word. These people were carrying weights I couldn't imagine, yet they showed up. They helped each other. They found reasons to smile. One evening, 6 weeks after Derek had left, I was helping serve dinner when I saw him, Derek, walking past the community center, windows with her, probably heading to that expensive Italian place he'd once promised to take me to for our anniversary but never did. My hands froze on the serving spoon, my heart hammering against my ribs. Marcus, who was helping me that night, noticed. "You okay, Miss Emma?" I wasn't. The old Emma, the one who'd existed 6 weeks ago, would have run to the bathroom to cry, would have called Sarah in a panic, would have spent the rest of the night cyberstalking their social media, torturing herself with images of their perfect life. But before I could spiral, Destiny appeared at my elbow. "Miss Emma, I finished another chapter." And guess what? I used misunderstood in a sentence at school, and my teacher was so proud. Mr. Chen shuffled over with his gentle smile. "Emma, dear, could you help me carry these boxes? My arthritis is acting up." Yolanda poked her head from the kitchen. "Emma, honey, can you taste this soup? I think it needs something, but I can't figure out what." They needed me. Not because I was Derek's girlfriend or someone's future wife or any role defined by another person. They needed Emma, the woman who showed up, who listened, who cared. The woman I'd forgotten existed beneath all those layers of trying to be perfect for someone who'd never truly seen me. I glanced back at the window. Derek and his new girlfriend were gone, disappeared into the rainy night. And I realized something that made my eyes sting with entirely different tears. I didn't care. Not in the way I thought I would. Yes, it still hurt. Probably it would for a while. But that hurt was becoming smaller than the fullness growing in its place. "I'm okay," I told Marcus, and meant it. "Let's feed these people." 2 months later, I was leading a new program at the center, a creative writing workshop for kids and adults alike. Destiny wrote a story about a brave rat who saved a whole city. Marcus wrote poetry that made everyone cry. Mr. Chen wrote love, letters to his late wife that he'd never gotten to say out loud. And I wrote too, not about Derek, not about heartbreak, but about finding yourself in the last place you expected. Sarah found me after the workshop one evening, tears streaming down her face. "Emma, do you know what you've done here? These people, they talk about you like you hung the moon. Destiny's teacher says her confidence has skyrocketed." Marcus told Margaret, "You're the first person who's ever made him feel like his words mattered." "You did that. You." "They saved me first," I whispered. "No, honey." "You saved yourself. We just reminded you that you were worth saving." That night, I finally blocked Derek's number. Not out of anger or spite, but because I genuinely didn't need to know anymore. His chapter had closed, and I was writing new ones, filled with characters far more interesting, plot twists more meaningful, and a protagonist who was finally becoming the hero of her own story. 6 months after that rainy day at Sarah's window, Derek showed up at the community center. I was teaching Destiny how to use metaphors when Margaret told me someone was asking for me. My stomach dropped when I saw him standing in the doorway, looking uncomfortable in his expensive suit. "Emma," he started, I made a mistake." "She wasn't. It's not." I held up my hand. "Derek, I hope you're happy." "I really do. But I don't need this conversation. I want another chance," he said. And once upon a time, those words would have been everything. Destiny tugged my sleeve. "Miss Emma, is this the boy from your story? The one who left?" Derek's face flushed red. I smiled down at Destiny, then back at him. "Yes, sweetheart. But remember what we learned? Sometimes people leave so better things can arrive." As Derek walked away, Sarah appeared beside me, squeezing my shoulder. I'd once asked her to hold me so he'd regret leaving me. What I hadn't understood then was that the strongest arms I'd ever need were my own, wrapped around children who needed encouragement, around elderly friends who needed comfort, around a community that needed love, and most importantly, around myself. Some heartbreaks don't break you. They break you open. And sometimes, if you're brave enough to let the light in, you discover that you were never really broken at all. You were just becoming